Robert Mair, thanks for joining us here. You're from Cambridge University, doing a lot of work, great work on smart technology, and really bringing it into infrastructure. I suppose, how do we make it happen? How do we make smart technology really invade infrastructure?
I think the only way to do that is to demonstrate it. And so the Centre for Smart Infrastructure and Construction, CSIC, which is our program at Cambridge, is all about demonstrating new technologies on construction sites and actually trialing them, proving they work, overcoming the problems, and then getting them adopted.
So where are the success stories? CrossRail?
CrossRail has been a huge success story. One of the things that we spent a lot of time using on CrossRail is Fibreoptics. So if you've got a reinforced concrete structure, if it's a pile or a diaphragm wall or sprayed concrete tunnel lining, then you can actually use fibre optics to attach the reinforcement. And the fibre optic acts as one incredibly efficient strain gauge. So you can actually understand for the first time how that pile is performing from the moment you construct it, right through during its loading, right through the design life of the building. Same with the diaphragm wall, same with bridge structures. So that a lot of our structures can actually be, for the first time, can actually have a health monitoring system.
That's not just about building it more efficient. It's not just making the actual construction process more efficient. It's about the whole life.
Exactly.
Right.
It's both.
So what are the barriers to that? Because it sounds like there can't be any. There's no losers in that. What are the barriers?
The barriers are that there's a cost. It's not a very big cost, but there is a cost, and it takes a mindset change, a change in mindset to actually realise that it is well worth investing money in actually that kind of instrumentation, that kind of monitoring, in order to be able to have a much better way of designing and managing your asset. So there's a big difference also between the capex, the capital expenditure, and the operating costs. And so we tend to be a rather conservative industry. So when we have to worry about designing for 75 years or 100 years, our designers tend to take a rather conservative view and make a very robust structure on the grounds that they imagine and hope that will last the design life. But if you actually are going to build in the sort of sensors I'm talking about, you can afford to not have to be so conservative and so robust, and you can reduce considerably the capital expenditure at the expense of having a planned maintenance throughout its design life, but based on what you measure, based on what it's telling you.
But of course, advances such as this require, the innovative ideas require investment, not only in the technology we know about, but also the technologies or the research and development that give us the future. We're not spending enough on that, though, are we?
We're not spending enough. We've been very fortunate at Cambridge in that the government put in £10 million into our project, and industry put in another 7. So we have 17 million, and that's been a substantial amount to really get things going. So we've got 40 industry partners, all the sort of names that you might imagine, the big infrastructure owners, the contractors, the consultants, and we have to date about 80 different site demonstrations across a whole range of projects. CrossRail is one of them, but many others.
So should the supply chain, should the private sector be doing more to invest its own money to try to, you've got companies like Lang O'Rourke who are putting a lot of money in. Should the rest of the supply chain be following suit, or is it a government thing?
I believe it's both. I believe it's both. I think the government have done a very good job in actually saying, well, let's pump prime this operation. Let's get you, Cambridge, to work with the industry to demonstrate these new technologies. But then it's over to the industries to take them up.
We've got the National Infrastructure Commission. We've got the needs assessment activity going on. What's the role of those bodies to try to drive more technology, to try to drive more innovation into infrastructure?
I think it's interesting question as to what their role is with regard to technology. I think the main aim of the National Infrastructure Commission is to identify the priorities for the country as to what infrastructure is needed. I think the way in which it's it's built, the way in which it's designed and constructed and indeed operated is probably of secondary interest to the National Infrastructure Commission.
We have got huge opportunities around the use of technology, and we have got huge opportunities to really change the way we design, construct and operate infrastructure. Is that, should we be looking to the clients, the owner-operators to really be driving that forward?
Yes. I think the main driver comes from the clients.
Right.
That without the client, such as CrossRail or London Underground or Highways England or Network Rail, if those clients are not saying we need this kind of innovation, we want to build it in, we want to see these kind of sensors and monitors built into our structures, it won't happen.
Yeah. And what we saw, I suppose, with BIM was a government mandate, i.e. thou shalt do this. Do we need more of those kind of mandates to try to drive forward the use of technologies?
I think we do. I mean, I prefer to describe BIM as AIM, asset information modeling, rather than building information modeling, but the principle is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So digital engineering, I think it's we're only a small distance away now from all of our infrastructure being constructed digitally before anything is built on the ground. And these sensors I've been talking about can be incorporated into the digital model and incorporated as part of that, so that the whole way in which things are designed and built will change. Yeah. And it needs an edict from, not necessarily from the government, but from the clients, but of course a lot of the clients are effectively government, to say we want to see a sensing strategy built into our infrastructure.
Very exciting time, and I suppose you've now got a role in the House of Lords. Can you use that, I suppose, to help get across the importance of this this sector to the economy, to the growth of the nation?
Well, I certainly hope very much to promote civil engineering and infrastructure in every way I can, and to take part in relevant House of Lords debates, select committees, and so on to further the cause of infrastructure. Yes.
Robert, Lord Mair, thanks for joining us here at Highways UK.
Thank you.